Thanks for being here. This is the Women in Healthcare event in May, the virtual networking event. Thanks for joining us. It's all about empowering you, inspiring you, and connecting you, and allowing you to connect with each other and to learn from each other and to be able to talk to each other. My name is Johnny Ross. I'm going to be hosting the event this evening, but delighted with a fantastic panel, and Angie Coupe is here, the founder and of Women in Healthcare, but also of Healthcare Business School. Angie, you're a former nurse and got so much passion for the healthcare industry. How are you, Angie? Oh, we just put your microphone on for us, if that's all right.
Okay. Hi, Johnny. Thanks for having me, and thanks to everyone for joining. Just a bit of like a correction there. I'm not a former nurse, but I've worked quite a lot closely with
We've spoken so many times and we've had that conversation, and I think I've probably said that too many times then. I'm so sorry. But I know the amount of passion that you have for the healthcare industry. And in fact, just tell us for a moment why you set Women in Healthcare up.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. I was raised by a nurse, surprisingly, so this is where the whole passion.
That was it. It was your mum. I apologize.
My mom was a nurse, hardworking nurse, just like any healthcare professionals in these platforms. So this is where the whole passion derived from, seeing nurses work and all the other healthcare professionals working so hard at times without being really, appreciated, and having to go through all the challenges that comes with the role. Yes, we do have challenges in all the other jobs, but there is quite extra bits that, more challenges in the sector. So the platform for Women in Healthcare was set to help women in the sector to kind of like create this platform which enriches and empower the women in the sector, and while supporting each other as us as professionals, and also at the same time allowing space for us to speak and to share any things like how to deal with burnouts, share tips on how to become really a better, like a supportive employee. There's things like a lot of challenges like the toxic, working with toxic maybe staff members or colleagues. And also we found it is a platform which is really where we can speak freely and feel more confident knowing that you've got people around you who can relate to your challenges.
Brilliant. Well, you've got an exciting panel, which you're going to allow them to introduce each other. I'll bring them on. Just to say that we will be doing a bit of networking as well, so please keep around, and we'll allow you to get in touch with each other and get to know each other as well. But for now, I will let Angie take over and introduce the rest of the panel, and have a great event. Angie, I'll leave it with you.
Thank you, Johnny. Thanks everyone to the lovely panel that we have today on a very important topic. I say important because we all are challenged somehow. It is mental health. We've all had issues, or should I say everybody out there in the community has had their own share, and the pandemic has actually put us in the worst position. Today's topic is surviving and thriving while improving our well-being within the workplace. And this panel hopefully will be able to support us with sharing ideas, tips, and maybe different other opportunities or ways of how we can really manage while we are being challenged. So there is a way that we can all play parts to the whole mental health issue, and to contribute to the to the society as well through taking our own part, which is why we've got these lovely ladies. And with that said, I would like to introduce our first panelist, Katie Taylor. Could you kindly introduce yourself?
Thank you for having me. I am a holistic therapist working with different modalities, mainly the Bowen technique, Reiki, crystals, emotional freedom technique, and cranial work. I bring these different modalities, and I've created my own style of healing. So I'm essentially balancing people's energies. I work very much with my head, my heart, and my hands. And I find that when I connect those three elements, what happens in my treatment room can be really powerful. So that's basically what I do.
Thanks, Katie. Very interesting. Like a background there, and we hope to learn from you today. Our next panelist is, we've got Liz Brandbury. Liz, could you kindly introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Liz. I'm the Chief Executive of the Leeds Jewish Welfare Board. We're a charity based in North Leeds, working primarily but not exclusively with the Jewish community. And we have a really, really varied range of services. One of my colleagues, Becca, hello Becca, she's on our session this evening. She runs our registered care, More Care service, that's domiciliary care out in the community. We have registered care homes for adults with learning disabilities, and we provide a range of therapeutic interventions, counselling support, family network groups, working with young children as well, right the way through to supporting older people, coming to activities, trying to have lots of fun, and we run a kosher cafe and restaurant as well. It's quite a varied work. And I think I would say that we are blessed that we have about 140 staff, and we have an amazing team of 200 volunteers, without which we could not do what we do. And I love what I do.
Interesting. Thank you. So we look forward to hearing from you, Liz. We've got our lovely Sarah, whom we really are delighted to have on the panel as well. Over to you, Sarah. Could you kindly introduce yourself?
Hi, hello, hi everyone. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm a registered childminder, so I'm hoping to bring to the panel a discussion about how you stay healthy and happy when your job does involve a lot of emotional engagement and long hours and all the things that a lot of the workers in healthcare will be able to relate to. And also I'm passionate about how we improve the image of women's work and how we get our work recognised, and I think that's really important for our mental health too. So hopefully I'll be able to contribute. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah. As we all know that most health, what should I say, in this panel, I know we've got quite a lot of most of you are healthcare professionals, and we are all aware that you guys have been out there working so hard while most of us were in the lockdown. And during that period, we've all been challenged in a sense that we expected more from you to kind of find a solution, to kind of like, when we came to the hospitals, to kind of find ways of all the vaccinations, the treatments, and in some way, somehow you gave it all. And by providing the public health, which needed your safety, and while you were also battling to cope with anxiety, the fear of the unknown, not knowing what all these future had to bring, and you also had your own maybe physical exhaustion, the stress, the worry, and the anxiety. I'm also so before I go on to going into more into in depth about the whole topic, I'd like to introduce one of our frontliners, Zelda, who is also a mental health nurse and a therapist as well. Over to you, Zelda.
Hi, I'm my background is mental health, but I'm a mental health social worker, Angie, not nurse.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm very passionate about mental health. I've been working mental health for over 10 years, and I've got my own organization called MATWAD, which stands for More Alike Than We Are Different. And I just think that when you are on the other side of supporting people, it's very easy for us as professionals to not realize what we're struggling with, what we're going through. Half the time it's exactly what people bring to you that we're all struggling with. So that's why I started More Alike Than We Are Different, just to highlight about mental illness, mental health, that it affects all of us, at times just the best of us. So yeah, I'll be hoping to contribute from that perspective. And I'm very much passionate about mental wealth, just that investment in our mental wealth, you know, sort of having it in the bag before we get to crisis point. So that's me.
Thank you very much. Really exciting, and we look forward to hearing from you, Zelda. So a bit of introduction again about Women in Healthcare, who we are. We are a platform that enriches, empowers women in the sector, women like yourselves, ladies, where we hope that we can all contribute, we can all empower each other through supporting each other, and through sharing tips and ideas, and equally being a sister's keeper. And yes, men are also welcome on the platform. That is why we've got our lovely journey today. So yes, so with that said, going back onto today's topic, which is surviving and thriving. Yes, I mentioned that most of you guys were out there supporting us, but what we tend to forget is that while you were trying to find ways, if I find a balance between delivering your, working within the profession, there were so many high expectations from you, from your employers, expectations from us being patients. But within that period, you then tend to maybe focus more on us, and there would have been some impact that came with all that, which is why we felt that today's topic, we hope that we could kind of find maybe a way of how we can support you to survive, thrive, while you improve your well-being. So I'll be asking questions. I'll be asking a few questions to the panel, which could potentially lead to more like getting some tips, getting some advice. We've got like a lovely mixture of skills here. So I'll start with Kate Taylor, asking Kate a question about the secrets. What are the secrets behind your success in building your career, which might potentially inspire somebody today that you have, or what are your strengths that you have that you needed to have to be where you are in your role or in the actual business?
For me, I think it's being passionate about what I do, and I've always led with my heart and my intuition. And I started off my journey because I wanted to help somebody very close to me. We didn't really know what was wrong with him, so I started learning different techniques in order to be able to maybe try and help his health. And what I found, although to begin with I wasn't helping him, I was helping everybody else I was kind of putting my hands on and working with, I just kept on learning, and I kept almost chasing, I'm not going to say the secret, but chasing my way, and finding what techniques work for me. So just I think knowledge is key, and whatever it is you're doing to find out who the best people are to train under, because it's almost, for me, it's a little bit, if you can mimic people that are really good at what they're doing and learn from the best, it's easier to kind of bring it into what you do. And also the other thing that I found is that when you go on courses or you learn new techniques, it's really important to start using them straight away and to bring them into whatever it is you're doing, because it's very easy for a month or 2 months to go by and you almost forget the key parts of what it was that you were kind of trained to do. So yeah, keep learning, keep reading, and be passionate. And if it's not giving you that sense of fulfillment, then and that sense of that you're on the right track, then kind of open up a different door, because we don't always open up the right doors.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's very profound and very interesting. I hope we got something from Kate's response. So I'm going to throw the same question to our lovely Liz, whom I would like to know from you, Liz, about this. What is the secret behind your success? Because yes, you do have this team that you manage. And obviously there's quite a lot of things that tend to happen maybe within the workplace. So what is the secret to the success for you to be where you are, and how you've actually built up your career from the beginning, climbing up to here, and what have been your strengths in the whole journey?
Just pop your mic on, Liz.
So, understand your purpose and actually understand how to use IT helps. I think you've really got to think about what you love to do in your life. And, you know, we're all talking, or Sarah's just nodding now, about what your passion is. And certainly I had a point in my career when I actually moved away from being out of social and healthcare and housing, and I went into private business, and I did it for 7 years. And I'm going to be really honest, that affected my mental health and well-being greatly, because I was not aligned with my purpose and where I wanted to be. And I'll be very honest, I nearly had a breakdown because of it. But then you realign yourself, as Katie said, and think about what it is. And I think the key thing is to be brutally honest with yourself and be authentic about what it is and what you stand for, and just what it is that fires you to get out of bed in the morning. Because there are mornings when it's really difficult to get out of bed. And I think once you can really start to work that out, and for me, my purpose was about caring. You know, you look back over what your behaviours have been. And I've always been a natural carer, you know, putting other people first. Even, you know, you go back to being, I don't know, a toddler or doing whatever it is you're doing in your childhood, and you start to pick up those patterns of behaviours, and they're the things that make you happy. So I think that for me is a big one, and connecting with people. I love learning. I love finding out about people. I'm not necessarily a natural learner by books. I'll learn by observing and watching people and doing things. And I would say, if there's one great life lesson I've learned in the last 12, 18 months, is you're not on your own, and you are part of a team, and it's through team success that you will achieve it. I am nothing without my team. And I'm not just saying that, we are nothing without the people that connect us.
Absolutely.
So it's not my success, it's my team's success, because they're a great team.
Thank you very much. I hope we all, you know, like we're all learning from that very crucial point, because some of you guys might be in the management roles, and some of you might be running their own health and social care businesses. Like, this is exactly what Liz has shared, is emphasized on understanding that this success is their success, which is really enables us to deliver what we got to deliver, like the team shared determination, if you like. Now I'm then go to Sarah. Sarah also, within her career, she also empowers other women, supports other women within her profession to deliver what they got to deliver by, you know, through probably different skills that you shared with us earlier on. So my question to you is, how do you help? Like, how do you support the team around you, or those particular individuals or other child minders? How do you support them to grow, and also to continue to encourage them to be, to be resilient? Because I said earlier on too that, we value most, if you're child minders especially, because without people like yourselves, we can't go out there to do our jobs. Most of the frontliners, it would definitely would be impossible for them to go out there and deliver and cover some shifts, if you like. So over to you, Sarah.
Yes, it's how we measure success, isn't it? Is sort of a bit of a question here. And to be honest, just spending 8 years as a full-time childminder within our sector, that's a success. I don't think, I certainly think surviving and thriving just as a sole trader, as a personal business, that has been, that comes down to confidence in your own practice. Definitely. Again, similar to what Liz said, I've always loved kids, and I've always been passionate about children, and you know, I played with them, as Liz was saying. I was the one who took all the babies away and played with them when we was little, so obviously translating that into a career. The thing that really has kept me going as a childminder, and currently I only work 3 days a week, is I've had to reach out and network in different ways. Now, there's some really lovely childminding communities, and we support each other that way, socially and going out, because obviously it's quite an isolating industry. But in terms of me personally, it's the fact that I love my job and I know I'm a professional, and I want everyone else to recognise that. So I get involved, I've been involved in various organisations, political organisations, and I'm currently working with UVA, who are a union that work with a lot of migrant workers, a lot of healthcare workers, not necessarily nurses, but people who are still underrepresented. And it's in doing that and being, so my passion, so what would say intellectual, or sort of like my other needs, I'm meeting by hoping to raise the profile of my industry, hoping to get better conditions, work conditions, and also empowering. I'm very passionate about sharing with people that their skills, that their knowledge and their practice is as valuable to the world as, you know, someone who has been to university. I mean, I'm privileged because I've been to university, and you know, so I've got a slightly different perspective, but their value, you know, I see people that have worked in childcare with young children for many, many, many years. And I will tell you now, they know as much about child psychology as a university professor, because they've got practice-based experience. And I'm really passionate about other healthcare workers and people doing women's type job, caring jobs, realizing that they are, even though we don't get treated like professionals, we are professionals, and our knowledge and our skills are amazing and a valuable resource. And I just want to get that out there and, you know, get it valued, because the part of our reason why we feel demoralized is because we're not valued, and our work isn't valued. It's considered an innate, you know, womanly caring thing that a lot of women do for free. So we're almost privileged to be paid to do it. So yeah, in terms of mental health, I just think it's no wonder people in care, you know, we give, and it's considered somehow an emotional thing. And I'm like, no, it's a profession, knowledge, practice-based experience. And I've made loads of mistakes, and you do loads of things wrong, but it's having the confidence that you're learning from those experiences and you keep going, and yeah, hopefully someone will recognize it.
You definitely are amazing, Sarah. You know, the way we really need you out there. We really appreciate your hard work, and we definitely do recognize. I hope everyone on this platform will agree with me that we definitely are amazing. Zelda, I've got a question for you. Yes. Again, on the emphasis of surviving and thriving, how do you help? How do you maybe help support your team? Because I know I've spoken to you briefly about work, and you mentioned that you've been working quite a lot from home as well, and also back on the field at times. How do you then continue to support your team with growth, development, especially in these challenging times? Even like you're supporting your colleagues, because there are some colleagues who are really challenged at times, really stressed and all that. And so what any tips as a specialist in the sector, or as a, like, you know, somebody in the mental health side of things, or mental wellness?
Yeah, I think what's been important is the past couple of years has just highlighted just how human we are, to start with, that we are all human before we are professionals. So it's one of those things that we as professionals we've gone against the grain of how we support people to start with. So one of the difficulties I have found for the past couple of years, and which is probably a reflection of for my own development, has been supporting, trying to wear your professional cap and supporting people whilst we are all going through the same things. So we have encouraged a lot of support groups within teams, and we have had a lot of Zoom meetings just for the support of professionals within the teams. So that's another thing we've been doing. But just acknowledging, this is why I also felt the need for this More Alike Than We're Different as a service that will provide to everybody. Just acknowledging that we are all struggling with the same thing. And whilst we were turning up to work, whilst we were supporting people over the phone and going against what we say, isolation was a big thing with the government saying, people should stay home. We were staying home, but we were still working. So we found ourselves having to deal with our families, but still support people. So just first of all, just acknowledging that these struggles have been for everybody, and just sort of linking up with team members and reaching out to teams. Supervisions within teams has been a big one. We've really encouraged people to come out and just giving that extra support, acknowledging that these trying times, especially in the past couple of years, have been for everybody. The other thing as well is I've also wanted to encourage people to just invest in, your mental wealth. We've got the mental health side of things, because in mental health services, you always meet people at crisis point. So it's kind of like mental health is talked about at crisis. Why are we waiting for crisis? Why are we waiting for when people need to go to consultants? Why are we waiting for when people need assessments to talk about mental health? So it's something that we share within teams as well, to say we've got to be very, very mindful of investing in mental wealth. So this is one thing I will be pushing again as part of MATWAD, to say, the way we invest, even in business, women in healthcare, professionals, women who are working, mental wealth, you've got to invest in it the same way you invest in your finances. If it's in there, the same way you're so worried about, the rainy day, you've got rainy day money, you need that time to yourself. If it's costing you your peace, then it's not worth it. That's the sort of mindset that I've tried to encourage people to have. But just in teams, reaching out, I think there's so many services within our teams as well, within NHS and even the voluntary sector, that professionals can go to, and just encouraging each other to make use of those services as professionals. That's one of the things that we've been doing within the teams. So that it's been really, really difficult. It's been really difficult. I think one of my highlights, I don't know if I've shared with you, Angie, one of the highlights for this past 2 years for me was when a service user asked me, how are you? This is after 40 minutes of supporting somebody over the phone. And then she just turned around and said, how are you? And she really wanted an answer. And then you realize that, we are supporting people as professionals. We practice-based, evidence-based practice, everything we are doing as professionals. But at the end of the day, mental health, it doesn't discriminate against people, age, race, religion. So we have to look after ourselves as professionals. That we have to, for us to do the job and do it right, we've got to look after ourselves.
Wow. Okay, thank you so much, Zelda. And really, this is very insightful, that we spend most of our time, trying to meet these expectations, trying to steal those moments, trying to not realize that we need to also deposit, as Zelda says, that we need to deposit more in that bag, in that wealth bag of our mental well-being, instead of waiting for that bag to really go lower and wait for that recharge battery to be put in when we are when we are in the position. Now the next question I'll direct it to Liz. So Liz, my next question is about health and well-being. Again, on the emphasis of thriving. Yes, we trying to survive, but we don't want to just survive. We want to thrive, within this, when it comes to mental well-being. Sorry, guys, I'm a stammer, so I tend to go a bit faster at times. So yeah, so we want to thrive. So while we're trying to thrive, the mental and well-being are instrumental in thriving. And so what helps you, and how do you implement this within people in your workplace? Because, or have you got something that you could potentially share on how we can also, use
Great question. And I think and I'm going to start off with, you've got to give permission to people to say it's okay not to be okay before you even get to the point of thriving, and as health professionals, however we work, we've got to recognize it in ourselves if we're not okay. And we have got to be really honest with others when we're not okay. And for me, there's absolutely no shame in saying I'm having a bad day. We've all almost got to consistently check in with each other, which we've done on Teams and everything else. But be honest, I mean, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I actually see that as a strength for me personally, because at least people know where I'm at. So I can be honest and say, I'm not doing well today, because I think part of us leading and supporting our teams, or just ourselves, is about being honest with each other and being authentic. As an organisation, certainly we have tried really hard to support people by offering employee assistance programs, free counselling, support, education, and valuing the education and training that we give to people, because we want to invest in them, because we want them to be with us over the long term. It's not a quick fix. It's actually about looking at what we can do in the future. And Biggie, saying thank you, not just in an email, but a handwritten note, or just saying thank you, not even if need be a bottle of vodka, or whatever it would be. Not promoting that as an alternative, but I think sometimes just for me, just saying, personally thank you to people. We do things like offer loans to staff. People have really financially struggled over the past year. So for me, knowing that they can ask for help and there's no judgment, because we all need that at some point, is a great way, because we have, as an employer, I believe, to take away as much stress as we possibly can do, so that everybody's enabled and supported to do their job. And I think because we are a smaller charity, we are able to have that level of flexibility to be able to do that. And I recognise that some of our bigger institutions would struggle with that, but it's, in care, we're all taught it's about person-centred care. It's about treating an individual, individual plan of healthcare, whatever. And we should need the same thing for our staff and what we can do, and give that flexibility wherever possible. It was really interesting. Right at the beginning of the pandemic, I bumped into somebody that was doing the shopping at Gourmet, which is the one of the Jewish shops that we have in the community. And she kind of went, "Oh, I'm really sorry, I've come out." And I went, "You come in to do your shopping at a time that suits you. You are not chained to a desk. I trust you as an adult to do your work." And I think trying to get people to understand about trust, people are adults. We might have service users who are children, but our colleagues are adults and we need to treat them as such. So I think for me, it's really important just to be honest and talk about the issues, and if need be, lead by it. My team will have seen me cry, my team have seen me get angry, and that's okay. And I think we've got a great team that, we can say it and move on and be honest. It's not about bearing grudges or anything, but that takes time, I think, to develop.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Liz. I really like the point of saying that it's okay not to be okay, and preaching that gospel, because we tend to want to hide those feelings when you're actually in the workplace, because we kind of like, we're scared for that we'll be judged by our bosses. We might lose an opportunity of maybe I don't know, of promotion and all sorts. So thank you very much for that contribution. Katie, of course, your question is so how can we continue to grow and flourish to be the best versions of ourselves? Because yes, we are challenged at times. At times we want to get promoted in the workplace. We want to look as if we are okay when we're not okay. But then we think because there's a lot of competition in the workplace, so and so can't get the promotion when I'm not getting it. So my question to you is, how can we run our own race and understand that we are, like, we're not in competition with anyone?
I think that the main thing is to look after our inner health, and whether that is in a busy day, just finding half an hour to go out and maybe be in nature, or if you enjoy cooking, it's not just making food for the family, enjoy the creativity of cooking. If you make yourself a playlist, I always enjoy, if I've got some time, if I've got an hour to actually invest time in making a playlist that I know is relaxing and uplifting for me, so that, for example, if I am going for a walk, I can listen to that and I find that uplifts me. Or if I'm going somewhere in the car, the music that I choose to listen to will have an effect on how I'm feeling and almost feed me from a self-care point of view. So I just think we can all be busy, and we can all be kind of on this rat race of keeping up, but if we don't actually take time to just think about ourselves, we all have a shower or a bath, but actually to be a little bit more mindful about those things that we do. So when you're in the bath, actually taking just a little bit of time to just think, right, this is for me. It's not just for being clean. It's actually just this is 20 minutes now for me. I'm switching off my phone, and I'm just going to be, and just feel the water, feel the warmth, just switch off and breathe. Take some conscious deep breaths, and just to be aware that we need to look after ourselves, because if we don't look after ourselves, then we can go chasing whatever it is we're chasing, but we're more likely to get it if we come from a stronger standpoint.
Okay, thanks very much, Katie. The next question is directed to you, Sarah. I know you've worked so hard to start your business, which came with lots of challenges, and during this period, most people lost a lot of, a lot in terms of, on the business side of things. So how have you managed to be where you are? Have you got any other tips to share with anybody in that position who's starting or who's passionate about something which they want to turn into a healthcare or health and social care business?
There's a lot of challenges in health and social care, and your main challenges are probably underfunding, demoralized workforce, and those kind of issues. I love what Liz was saying about saying thank you. I'd like to add to that to say sometimes if you work in healthcare, sorry, I'm not sure if I'm answering your question. Please bring me back to the point if you need me to. But I loved what Liz was saying about saying thank you. I'd just like to extend it just that little bit. And I'm sure from what Liz is saying, she probably does do this. But if you've got people, I think we could tend to say, oh, you're an angel, or, oh, aren't you amazing? I don't know how you do that. And that's lovely. It's much better than being criticized. But what is really, really helpful is when someone does good practice and you say, that is amazing practice, I'm going to share that. Focus on things that they are actually doing well and getting results at, rather than this general, oh, aren't you amazing? Because when people tell me I'm amazing, I tend to think, I'm really not. You know, I'm getting by. You know, I am good at my job. But I don't, as a practitioner, get much of that. I get lots of doubt. I get lots of, you'll maybe experience it as when relatives are maybe talking to you. But I get a lot of parents saying things like, they'll bring their babies to me and they'll say, are you sure you can cope? And you know, so my confidence, you know, and I'm constantly saying no, it's hard for me to assert. I'm like, I'm a professional, I've done this before. Your babies, I am very, very capable of looking after your babies, and maybe you ought to listen to me, because I've looked after lots of babies and this is your first one. You know, but anyway, well, I'm just for Liz and what she was saying about recognizing and saying thank you, just making sure sometimes that is actually directed at a specific practice that someone's done, or a thought, or rather than a general, you know, because it's not always helpful. And also, I love the taking time out. I love what Liz was saying about making sure, because obviously if you're in an industry with low pay, you've got to value your workers in other ways. And so saying, yeah, you can go do your shopping in your lunch hour, treating people like adults, saying, yeah, I trust you to get your work done, you know, having flexible approach to women. A lot of us are in this kind of jobs because it fits in with our families, and so it really, you know, as employers, you need to be making sure that it does fit in with their families. Oh, sorry, just the other one thing, I love the Zelda and her We're All More Alike. And yes, I mean, I've had mental health problems. I didn't realize that I had an anxiety disorder till I was 40. And I
because of time, I'm getting some prompts. I think we've got like 10 minutes left here. You might be able to answer this question on my next question. So I've got one more question for everyone, which is the same question where I'm asking you, you know, I'm asking all of you to share. So I'll start with you, Zelda, then I'll go to each and everyone to say to you, what would you advise somebody who is like a younger woman who's sitting in this room today, who's contemplating to start a career in health and social care, or to start a business? So Zelda, straight and prompt.
Wow. Go for it. I mean, if you, at the end of the day, nothing is easy. You know, I always say this, nothing is easy. Staying at home is not easy. You know, people always tend to think that there's always an easier way out. Speak to people within that industry, find mentors, find people who've done it before, but most importantly, follow your passion, you know. That's what I think. And you have got to be mindful of how you feel about things. And I always feel that your gut that's just everything. Once it's saying to you, this is what you want to do, you want to be in the healthcare industry, it's probably one of the most rewarding things I've ever done in my life, because, and get paid for it, you know? So why not? So I would encourage anybody that's really listening that go for it. But most importantly, look after yourself. Look after your health, look after your mental health. Don't wait until things are at crisis point. Acknowledge how you feel, and, you know, just invest in your mental well-being. That's what I would say. And I think, Angie, maybe I might have missed the question on thriving because of obviously of time. I think women in healthcare, we are really thriving, and we will continue to thrive. But most importantly, we also need to look out for each other. Yes. You know, just within our own professions, or even beyond that, just to look out and just check on each other. Because I think the expectations have never been higher, especially with what we've seen in the past couple of years. We've been the frontliners, but I think we've done exceptionally well, and we are thriving. So, you know, we've got to keep going.
Sorry, Zelda, I have to move on straight to Liz. Liz, just as prompt as you can. I think Johnny will be telling me off shortly. You actually
Yeah, okay, really quickly.
Yeah, so quick question before we invite people to join in the questions. What would be your advice to this younger woman sitting in here, Liz, who want to sit on that chair that you said that is sitting on?
Yeah, no. People are always going to need health and social care, let's be honest about it. So I think there's a great business to go into if it is aligned with your personal values, and I would say that. I think for me, it's probably one of the few industries where we are breaking the glass ceiling of women being in management and leadership more than some of the other traditional industries. I still think there is a glass ceiling that we're breaking, but there are more women in leadership positions than in other more traditional industries. And to use, just to sum it, for me, be the change that you want to be. That's fundamentally for me. If you want to change, lead on the change first.
Thank you very much. Kate, same question, please. A message for a young.
I would say, don't listen to your limiting beliefs. If you listen to your limiting beliefs, they'll stop you doing anything. We all have things that we struggle with, but if we all keep the momentum going in the direction of where you want to be, we make mistakes along the way, but sometimes those are the best lessons that we can learn from. And just keep going. You know, see it, believe it, think it, and tiny baby steps you can go a very long way, and you can get to where you want to be. You don't have to make giant leaps, but just keep going and believe in yourself.
Thank you very much, Kate. Sarah, that last question to you before we open the floor for questions. Over to you, Sarah. What that message that you want to give to, or encouraging word to support somebody, the younger woman who wants to own their own business, any business within the health and social care, and be as brave as you are.
I'm really struggling with this question. From a childcare perspective, I'm so tempted to say, you've really, really, really got to want to do this job to do it. It's not like being in healthcare. There's no natural progressions. Maybe teaching, a lot of people go into teaching, but it's a very disjointed industry. I'm not sure. The alternative would be, if you wanted to go into it, would be setting up a nursery, but at the minute, like 2,000 nurseries closed during the pandemic. I'm really sorry, I'm just really negative. It's a wonderful job. I love my kids and I love my job and I love being good at my job. But I definitely get my all my other stuff, my mental well-being, my it is from active stuff that I do outside the job, by promoting it and trying to make it a more valued industry for people to go into.
Thank you.
Sorry, it's really negative.
You're doing really, really well, because you are in the sector. You are actually running your own business. That is really,
thank you. Yes, yeah.
And you are caring for those children. Now I'll open the floor for questions. Johnny, should I I'll pass the mic back to you, over to you, Johnny. And thank you very much, ladies.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone has any questions at all. You can pop them in the chat, but we're going to do a bit of networking in a moment. So if you do have a question, you've got a 30 seconds to submit it, and we've got a minute or so to answer them. Not sure if there were any. There were certainly some nice comments on the chat, yeah, I think we'll go straight into the networking, and then what we'll do is we'll come back here, and then if there's any questions there, we can go for it. So thanks so much to the panel. Really interesting conversation. It was brilliant to listen to. What we're going to do is 6 minutes. You'll be in a room with 3-4 other people. Just get to know each other, ask some questions. Would you all put your cameras on and your microphones on? I meant to say that about a minute or two ago to try and warm you up a bit. So if you could all put your microphones and cameras on, and it'll be a good opportunity to get to know